Retrieving problems. What do we do with retrieving problems? Something we get asked quite a lot. So this week's video, we're going to be dealing with Harris, who's a 1-year-old red Labrador, dark yellow Labrador, and he's got a serious delivery problem. He spits the dummy out over in the distance. He's had some good basic obedience by his owner. He walks to heel, he's biddable, he's willing to please, but he won't bring the dummy back. So let's have a look at him and let's see how we can progress with him over the coming weeks. Hi, my name's Charlie Thorburn. Welcome to Mordor Gun Dogs. This week we've got Harris. Now Harris has literally just arrived. He doesn't know me from Adam. I think I met him once when he was a puppy, but I've never had anything to do with him. So I've actually just picked him up from a client who's a friend of mine on his way to work. So he didn't have time to bring him up here, so I went and collected him. As you've maybe seen some of my other videos, I'm regularly off delivering dogs, but we also collect quite a lot of dogs. I came up from London the other day with 6 dogs who come in for training. So it's quite a common thing. I guess it's that extra customer service that we like to provide at Mordor Gun Dogs. So just because you think, oh, we're a long way away from Charlie, maybe he can't help us, you know, maybe we can. Because not only do we do sort of collection and delivery sometimes, but we also have our cabin on the farm where people come and stay and do their more intensive training. So let's take Harris out to the one of the bits of grass and see how we get on with him. There's just a few things to explain here, just to put it into context. So Harris is not one of my dogs. I didn't breed him. I haven't done any training with him. He belongs to a friend of mine who's had some tips and pointers off me over the last kind of 7-8 months, in a sort of fairly vague kind of a way. He's a pretty busy guy. He's got a few businesses, so he's been doing what he can himself. He's done quite a good job, but hasn't really had a chance to come and see me very much. So we saw him when he was a puppy, ran over a few things. We saw him briefly at the game fair just recently. Now I've come straight out and I've put Harris on the lead and I've tried to have him on my left, but Harris clearly wants to walk on the right. So his owner has obviously trained him to walk on the right. So the first thing I've got to do is I've got to take the slip lead off and I've got to put it on the correct way around. Now, if any of you are unsure about that, I've got a video which Ian could put a link to on how to put a lead on the slip lead training, but I've got to put the lead on the other way around. So suddenly I've gone from my standard having the lead on the left to having him on the right. So everything's got to reverse. So I've got to adjust to the dog, because there's no point taking a dog who's learnt to heel on the right for the last 6, 8, 10 months of his life and trying to put him on the left, because that's not really why he's here. He's here for some general obedience and sharpening up, but he's here really because of his retrieving issue, for us to have a look at and see if we can fix it. So we're not going to try and start complicating his life by changing other things. So I've got to figure out his commands. I've got to figure out what he's used to doing, peeing on my foot being one of them. Harris, that's not going to go down well. Keep doing that. Sit. So we've got to figure that all out. Or I've got to figure it out, because Harris is going to have slightly different commands than maybe I would have given him. He's obviously walking on the left, so we've got to spend a little bit of time bonding with him. Good boy. And then we'll do a retrieve down over here. Harris, come here. Sit. Good boy. Heel. So his heeling's pretty good. He's got a loose lead. You know, he's walking pretty well. He's maybe trying to pull ahead a little bit, so I'm having to correct him a little bit. I don't want to be too abrupt with him. You know, I don't know him. He doesn't know me. He's a big, strong dog. He seems pretty confident, but I don't want to fall out with him the first 10 minutes of knowing him. So we're just slightly kind of allowing some things that we might not normally allow. Harris, sit. He knows how to sit clearly. Sit. He obviously knows how to sit and stay. So he's had a good level of obedience. But even though I know he's had this, I would never just come straight out and go, oh, he's just here for retrieving, so I'm just going to do retrieving. I've got to suss him out, and I've got to let him suss me out. So sit. Sit. So I've got to just see, you know, what I'm dealing with, how much he's looking at me, how much he's looking elsewhere. And he's looking at me enough, considering he doesn't know me. Harris. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Well done. Good boy. So just really important just to kind of get that early kind of little bit of attention, you know, scratch his belly, just make him feel relaxed, because I'm going to be putting him under a bit of pressure, because I'm going to be working him. I'm going to be expecting him to do retrieving, and normally, you know, retrieving issues are sort of due to incorrect training, too much pressure, all sorts of different things. So we've got to you know, we've got to make sure he's happy in his environment. So I'm going to go for broke. Harris, sit. I'm just going to throw a retrieve down here. Now I know he's steady, so I am going to just tell him sit, sit. Fetch it, go on. You can see he's waited, he's steady, he's gone straight down there. Good boy, come on then. Come on then. A little bit playful, doesn't want to pick this one up at all. Now, good boy, come on then. More interested probably in going off and having a pee, which is pretty common. It's pretty common stuff. Now, this is actually a plastic water dummy. So some dogs just don't like the feeling of that. If he's been used to a canvas dummy, then that's something, you know, maybe we'll go and try that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through a series of different objects in exactly the same environment, because if I throw it down there towards the same bush, he'll kind of get over the fact that he needs to pee on that bush because he's already peed on the bush. So I'm going to go and get a few other objects and see how we get on trying to get him to retrieve down there. So we tried Harris on the sort of rubbery plastic dummy. Didn't seem to like that. So we're going to just try him now on a regular canvas dummy. Sit. Fetch it. Go on, go on, go on. Instantly you can see he's put his mouth around it, but he's still being a bit silly. Good boy, come on then. Good boy, come on, out, fetch it. Come on, Harris, where is it, where is it, where is it? Good boy, come on then. Harris, go on, go on, go on, go on. Go on, go on. Good boy. Go on, go on, go on. Harris, go on. What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? Out, out, out. So there's a bit more interest. There's a bit more interest from him with the canvas dummy. You can see he's quite playful, quite silly about it. It's almost like the initial vibe I'm getting from him, it's almost like he doesn't really know what he's meant to do with it. He's kind of prancing around with it and playing with it, but doesn't really know what's required. We're going to use a couple of other things. Tennis ball next. So my kind of very, I mean, literally I've had this dog here for 10 minutes since I arrived with him. He's been in the back of the van, we got him out, we come around here, we started filming. So I really don't know him at all, but my instant vibe from him is he's been taught to sit and stay and behave and wait for his retrieve before actually having a good delivery. And this is something we see quite a lot, and this might not be the case with Harris, and I'll speak to his owner this evening and discuss what's happened today and see what he's, you know, find a little bit more about him. Once I've kind of, I don't want to know too much about him, because owners quite often tell me lots of things that they think is wrong with the dog or things that they think they've done. And quite often I quite like to look at it from a completely no information perspective and just go and see what the dog actually tells me rather than what the owner tells me. But my 10 pence on this is the way we train dogs is we get them to have a lovely delivery before we put any control on that delivery. Now what I mean by that is we'll be doing our heel lesson and our sit lesson and our recall lesson over here, and retrieving is literally just throw it, they run out, they pick it up, they bring it back. There's no control at all in terms of steadiness or anything like that. Often when people are training a dog to be a gun dog themselves, the first thing they think about, the thing they think is most important is, oh, steady the dog. I want him to be a steady peg dog, so we'll get him steady. And it's not a stupid idea. It really isn't. It's not an idea you go, oh God, why are they doing that? It's, I guess, just maybe a slightly misinformed idea. They're so keen to kind of, oh, my dog's steady. He doesn't retrieve and he doesn't do anything else, but he's steady. And I'm not saying that's what's happened with this dog, but it's a common thing we see. So we see dogs having the drive taken out of them at poor deliveries and things, and it's quite often caused by just lack of sort of enthusiasm from the dog and lack of instilling that early stages of what is required, which is pick the ball up, bring it back. It's all a big game. It's all a lot of fun. Fetch it. So you can see there, he's a 1-year-old dog. I've wound a tennis ball up in front of him. I've thrown it right across his nose and he's just sat there and watched it. Now, I've got 4-year-old dogs who would be more excited about a tennis ball than that. I've got an 8-year-old who would be. So that really sort of says to me, he's either it's either been too much control too young or too much retrieving. You know, throw, 100 retrieves a day, throw, and he's just kind of lost his mojo. But you can see he's kind of interested. He's watching me. He's not just completely blanking it, but he's lost that enthusiasm for picking it up. So we're gonna use one more little thing in here, which is just a teddy bear that my kids got from someone the other day at an event. Good boy. Come on then. Good boy. And you can see, so he's picked it up because I've wound him up. Good boy, Harris. Come on then. Come on then. Come on then. Come on then. And that's probably, sit. By winding him up and throwing it and him just being allowed to run for it, that's probably the best I've had from him out of the various different retrieves. And that again sort of shows me even more that from Harris's point of view, the fun has been taken out of going out, picking something up, bringing it back. The fun of like dummies and the enthusiasm that you see from my dog from dummies is he just doesn't have that, and that's probably because of just the sort of slightly going about his training in a slightly wrong, slightly in the wrong way for this temperament of dog. You could get a dog that's super keen, I want to go, pick up anything, always carrying something. And you could have got away with getting him to be steady and doing it all like this, and he would have still been keen to retrieve. But Harris's drive for his retrieving maybe isn't just quite as much as some other dogs, which makes for him to be a really calm, you know, he's a 1-year-old. He's really calm, he's really steady, he's just a nice, pleasant dog to have. But this is the balance of, from a gun dog point of view, if he's not going to pick things up and bring them back, all this calm and steadiness is kind of great as a pet, but the rest of the time as a gun dog, it's a bit of a waste of time. So it's just trying to get that balance with him. So we're gonna let him settle in. He's gonna stay here for a week or two. We're gonna see how he gets on. Now, normally when a dog comes and stays here, I've got a minimum period of 4 weeks because you've really got to get to know the dog. Because his owner is local and relatively local, a friend of mine, we're just going to play it by ear, because what I don't want to do is to keep this dog here for 2 months and find that, you know, we really haven't made any difference at all. I want to see some really good progress with him. I want to be building on every day, finding that he's getting better and better, and then we'll hopefully, you know, get him to a point where either his owner can take over, or we can get him to a point where he's bringing it nicely back to hand. So he's quite keen to go into the bag and get the teddy bear. So I'm not going to discourage that. If he wants to pick it up, what a good boy. So you see, as soon as I start talking to him, he drops it again. It's almost like he's like, oh God, I don't want to get this wrong. See, as soon as I talk to him, he stops. Come on then. Where is it? Where is it? So this sort of behavior of sniffing the bag and carrying it around, you know, it's quite kind of puppy-like, and I feel like he's had maybe, he's maybe not had enough play, had a little bit too much obedience for a kind of calm, steady dog. Anyway, we're going to see how we get on with him over the kind of next week or so, and we'll, you know, add this all to the same video and make one video of Harris and his retrieving issues. But at the moment, you can see exactly where he's at when he arrives, and the sort of thing we're facing and the sort of thing the owner's facing. Why did the owner send him here? The owner sent him here because he's kind of tried everything that he feels he can try and isn't getting anywhere. Now, hindsight's a magical thing. We'd all be very happy and multimillionaires. But with hindsight, if I could do something differently, I would have wanted to see this dog 6 months ago. Because 6 months ago, this would have been a much easier fix. Now it's more difficult. Why is it more difficult? The reason it's more difficult is because training dogs is about creating habits. The longer you spend doing the same thing every day, you're creating a habit, a more ingrained habit. It's more in his mind that this is what he does, and now this is just what he does. And this habit has become his training. So he's actually been trained to do this completely unintentionally and actually against what his owners wanted from him, but he's actually been, you know, his owners instilled this into his mind, and now we've got to try and unpick that and reinstill a new situation. Literally been here on our farm for 25 minutes. Sit. And you can see the progression of the different retrieves, things that have excited him more than others, eventually getting involved, wanting to stick his head in the bag. Now that could be he's relaxing with me, that could be he's kind of enjoying the different things to retrieve more. It could be a number of things, or it could be a combination. Anyway, I hope this little clip has just showed you a little bit of some of the problems we come across, and hopefully you'll see the next couple of videos or next video with him progressing further and improving in his retrieving. So thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and you get out what you put in.